Alright, welcome to Happy Wolf Art and episode 6 of Learning German with the California Kids. And this episode we're going to be doing test number 1 for the first chapter of Learning German, if you've been following along. And what I would like to do is initially just go through the test parts and explain the activities, just so everybody has an idea of what is going on. Now, one thing you can do is use the test as a study guide. If you would like initially, without doing the test, look over the different parts, revisit the previous videos, your textbook, study the information, and then come back and take the test. So, all right, let's get started. These are obviously the Beach Kid groups, um, or I'm sorry, the California Kid groups. These are the Beach Kids here in their Viking forms. There's also the Pier Kids and their warrior forms. This will take part in part 2 of the story. And we have the Playground Kids. I'm currently working on their warrior forms, so that will be done soon. And there is a fourth group, the Canoe Kids, and I still have to develop them. But so there's 4 main groups in this whole story. The first story arc between the Beach Kids and the Pier Kids is complete, and I'm currently writing the second part. Alright, so here's the test, the beginning of the test. What I traditionally do with my students is listening comprehension comes first. I'll read out a dialogue or some warm-up questions and have students write down the questions that I read out or the particular text that I ask them to listen for. So here, I'll read out warm-up questions that were practiced at the beginning of the previous video, so go back and watch the videos. These are the conversational questions. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Etc. Where do you live? Where do you come from? Write the questions down as you hear them. Do not look at any sources for help. Okay, simple enough. 5 of those. There isn't going to be any trick questions here, so these warm-up questions, conversational questions at the beginning of the videos will be on this section. Then next part is the dialogue. Dialogue. I'll be reading that out loud. It's a short dialogue having to do with the California Kids. So if you'd like to review the reading texts we've had already about the California Kids to prepare for that, that would be possible. So let me read through the questions really quickly so that everybody knows what the questions say in case there's any confusion. Wer spricht im Dialog? Who speaks in the dialogue? Who is the person talking? Wo wohnen die Kinder? Where do the children live? Woher kommen die Kinder? From where do they come? Wie alt ist Karl? And hat Karl, so how old is Karl? Hat Karl eine Lieblingsfarbe? And does he have a favorite color? So in the dialogue, you'll hear all the answers to these questions, and here you have multiple choice, so you just have to select. Go with your instinct here. Most often, your first instinctual response is most likely the correct response. Okay. Then we have colors. You can review the colors. Here's multiple choice. Number 4 and 5. You just write in 2 colors in German that you know that are not on this list here. Okay. And then we have Zahlen, the numbers. Again, here's a multiple choice, so just line up A goes with this one, B goes with that one. And for numbers, questions 4 and 5, spell out this number here, or these numbers in German, okay, without any reference. See if you can do that from memory. And here we have sort of the grammar section of the test. Du, sie, oder ihr. There's multiple grammar sections that are coming after this one, but this is one of them. So what you need to do is read these situations. A student speaking to a secretary, a student speaking to a professor, and what is the appropriate form of address when you're speaking to these particular individuals. Okay, are you going to use du informal, sie formal, or ihr plural informal? Okay. Pronoun substitution, we did a bit of this in the videos. Here what you're doing is reading this first sentence you don't even really need to know what it says, but they're relatively simple sentences. You're focusing on this italicized underlined noun and particularly the grammatical gender. So here, das is a neuter, or der is a masculine. Die, this is actually a plural, and die here is a feminine. And you're giving the appropriate pronoun to represent or substitute for this noun. So here you have the pronouns er, masculine, sie, feminine, s is neuter, etc. Okay, z is plural, obviously. Okay, so insert the appropriate pronoun for this section. All right, this section has to do with verb forms. You have the two verbs sein or haben if you want to go back and review the conjugations. So ich bin, du bist, sie sind, er, sie, es ist, ich habe, du hast, sie haben, er hat, und so weiter, etc. Okay, so here you're focusing on what is the subject of the sentence, and then you're giving me the appropriate verb conjugation of sein or haben here, and for a little help I've given you the English translation, but you need to insert the German conjugational form of sein or haben. Okay, and these are relatively simple also. Next section is read the following paragraph. So this paragraph here, answer the questions in German with complete sentences. Okay, so here is the first question. Sind die kalifornischen Kinder Geschwister? Are they siblings? And you have to say ja or nein. So this one's not a full sentence, but you could put it into a full sentence. Yes, the kids are siblings, right? I'm not going to give you the German version, obviously, because that's what I'm asking for you to produce. But these questions, answer these questions based on the information in the text. Okay, oftentimes as far as word order, you can reference the text or sometimes just change around the word order of the question, starting with the subject, etc. Okay, wie alt ist Wendy? How old is Wendy? Ist das jung? Is that young or old? Oder alt? Warum hat Wendy kein Handy? Okay, so why does she have no cell phone? Wo wurden die Kinder geboren? Where did they become or became, right? Where did they become born? It's a passive construction in German. And then the last one, wo ist ihre Heimat? Where is their homeland? Okay, what do they consider? So again, reference the paragraph, write out complete sentences with the subject, conjugated verb, the appropriate information, the answer, and that's all for this section. Last section is schreiben, to write in German with complete sentences. Answer these questions for yourself. What's your name, right? Where do you come from? Where do you live? How old are you? How are you doing? And do you have a favorite color? Okay, so go ahead and write those out. You can just answer them directly. It doesn't have to flow like a prose narrative or a story or anything, just simple, straight statement answers for these questions. All right, so that's the test. You can use this video as a study guide, or you can just go ahead and go right through it and answer the individual questions, write them down on a piece of paper, type them out. And the next video I will produce, probably next week, will have answers for this, and you can check your answers against mine. Okay, in the meantime, if you're using it as a study guide, go ahead and prep for that, and then when you feel you're ready, go ahead and try and take the test. Okay? All right, and last slide here, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel if you're interested in these videos. Also, if you'd like to see art update for the California kids, story, the adventures, and so forth, consider going to my Instagram, HappyWolfArt1, the number 1. And then there are, these designs are on my Teespring shop for t-shirts if you'd like to have that in support of the channel or just this Learning German program that's available on Teespring. And the shop name is Happy Wolf Art. So anyways, thanks again, and enjoy taking your first test. If you're already past the beginner level and you want to try this just to see how much you remember, that's great also. But thank you again for joining, and till next week, I'll um, upload the answers to this test, and I will be putting out other videos having to do with other topics, whether it's comic book art or that type of stuff. So, all right, thanks a lot. Take care, and we'll see you soon.